Mom's handwriting freezes me mid-step. This isn't a memory, it's a warning she left behind. My stepdad's heavy footsteps are coming down the hall, slow and confident, like he still owns every truth in this house. But this letter, this one message Mom hid from him, finally tells me what he did. And once I read the last line, I know I won't be scared of him ever again. Mom is gone. The house echoes, and he begins to change. After Mom died, the house shrank around me. Not physically, emotionally. Every room held something of hers, but my stepdad, Kurt, walked through the place like he was erasing fingerprints. Boxes disappeared. Photos vanished from walls. He kept saying it was too painful to leave it all out. But I knew pain wasn't the issue, control was. He started enforcing rules Mom never believed in. Curfews. Chores he never lifted a finger to help with. And worst, he limited where I could go. Don't touch her things, he'd snap, even though he was the one locking them away. Nights were the worst. I heard him on the phone, whispering, pacing, slamming cabinets. He'd go quiet when I came near. But one evening I heard something new. A woman's voice through the wall. Familiar with him. And that was the first sign the life Mom built wasn't just cracking. It was being overwritten. And then he moved me into the basement. When he opened the door I felt dread, not surprise. Kurt said my room needed repairs. What repairs? He wouldn't say. Instead, he pointed to the basement, a cold concrete space with one dusty pull-out cot. Temporary, he said. But he carried my boxes down himself and shut the door behind me. Down there I heard everything. His phone calls, the late-night laughter, the clinking glasses. Someone was visiting. Woman. On the third night, I crept up the basement stairs. Through the cracked door I saw her. A tall brunette sitting at the kitchen table, touching his arm like it belonged to her. Kurt didn't look sad. He looked free. I backed away before they saw me, heart pounding, footsteps silent. But in the corner of the basement, behind shelves of sealed boxes, something stuck out. A piece of floral fabric I recognized instantly. Mom's old scarf. And behind that scarf, I found something far more dangerous. Mom hid things for a reason. She never trusted easily. Tugging the scarf free revealed a shoebox taped shut. Mom's handwriting on the lid nearly stopped my breath. For Emma. If anything happens. My hand shook. I peeled back the tape, heart hammering. Inside were letters. Receipts. Flash drive. Each piece was labeled. Each detail meticulous. Mom had been tracking something. I skimmed the first letter. She mentioned fearing Kurt's spending, his late nights, his phone calls he'd hide. My throat closed. The receipts were worse. Thousands missing from her account. Weeks before her surgery. That surgery she didn't survive. Cold dread rolled through me. Was Mom afraid of him? A floorboard creaked upstairs. I shoved everything back in the box and hid it under my cot. But the letter at the bottom changed everything. This letter wasn't written in fear. It was written in certainty. At the bottom of the box was an envelope labeled with my name. Just my name. Inside, Mom's handwriting flowed shaky but strong. Emma, if you are reading this, I didn't die of bad luck. My vision blurred. She laid everything out. Kurt's gambling, his debts, his threats, the way he pushed her to sign documents she didn't understand. She feared he'd isolate me if anything happened. She made a copy of her real will. She hid it. She told me not to trust his grief. And she told me where the second hiding place was. A knock exploded on the basement door. Emma! Kurt barked. What are you doing down there? I shoved the letter into my pocket. I needed to find the second hiding place fast. Mom was clever. Kurt was predictable. Mom's letter mentioned a place he'd never think to touch. Her sewing room. He claimed he cleared it out, packed everything away. But I knew Mom's habits. She'd never leave her favorite shelf empty. While Kurt was in the shower, I slipped upstairs. The room smelled dusty, wrong. But the shelf. One panel didn't match. Pressed it. Click. Inside was a sealed plastic bag. The real will. Copy of their prenup. Bank statements showing mom transferred money from her savings directly into Kurt's account. My chest tightened. This wasn't just manipulation. This was theft. Footsteps approached. Heavy. Fast. I shoved everything into my hoodie and backed toward the hall. Kurt turned the corner, towel around his neck. His eyes narrowed. Say. The bulge in my hoodie. And then he lunged. I didn't plan to run. But I did. Kurt grabbed my arm, ripping the fabric. What did you take? I twisted away, sprinting toward the back door. He chased me through the hall, yelling my name like a warning. I hit the door and burst outside barefoot. The cold pavement burned my feet as I ran across the yard, cutting through the neighbor's gate. I didn't stop until I reached the only person Mom trusted, her sister, Aunt Rose. When she saw me shaking, clutching the papers, her face drained. Together we spread everything across her kitchen table. Tears pooled in her eyes as she read Mom's words. "We're going to the police," she whispered. But before we could leave, a car stopped outside. And he wasn't alone. The woman from the kitchen stepped out of his car. She looked shaken. She introduced herself softly. Lena. Not his girlfriend. His debt collector. "Kurt told me he was inheriting money," she said. "He promised he'd pay me back." Her eyes flicked to the documents. Realization dawned on her face. He lied to both of us. Aunt Rose dialed the police, voice steady. Lena didn't run, she stayed, arms crossed, furious. When officers arrived, Kurt tried to spin everything, claiming I forged the documents. But the officers examined Mom's sealed, notarized will. They saw timestamps. They saw bank statements. They saw Mom's letter. Kurt's face collapsed. He was arrested on the spot. But one more thing needed to be done. Grief doesn't disappear, but truth gives it shape. With Kurt gone, the house felt less heavy. Aunt Rose helped me move back in. For weeks, we repaired what he'd broken, physically and emotionally. Mom's sewing room smelled like lavender again. Her photos returned to the walls. When the estate lawyer reviewed everything, he confirmed it. Mom left the house to me, not him. And the letter, her final trembling words, became my anchor. I didn't win by fighting harder. I won by listening to Mom, trusting her love, and following the truth she left behind. And I wasn't afraid of the house anymore.